Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of The Closing Table. I am your host, James Garman.
This is Daniel White. We're ready to roll this
We
Monday morning.
indeed,
Lots going on.
indeed. Today is episode 12, man. Can you believe it, man? This is our 12th episode so far.
It, it feels like just yesterday, James. Feels like just yesterday.
Yeah, so I mean, like, 'cause we started off the new year pretty strong. We came in, had some great conversations. The platform is growing, so I definitely want to welcome all the new subscribers and everybody's that's been tuning in every week to support our channel, The Closing Table. And again, I just look forward to seeing where this thing can go over time. And we are thinking about adding, some night streams as well. When other major topics come up. So make sure you tune in, and stick around for that. But yeah, man, it's been great so far.
And the thing that we need now, James, is you and I, we're just two normal guys, man, just coming up with topics. They can add topics that they want to talk about.
Indeed.
They can message us and stuff like that, and we can jump on it.
I totally agree. So with that being said, we will start leaving our email address if you want to reach out to us. If you don't know us personally, definitely you'll be able to send in your topics to our email, so you can let us know what you're feeling and how you're feeling on these topics we're talking about, as well as things you want us to talk about. Also, I was just telling the wifey that we wanted to add a call-in line as well, because we want to start getting people, actual opinions verbally. So adding a call-in line so you all can tune in and give us a ring and let us know how you feel. Jump on a call with us.
Yeah, that'd be nice. We could bring some friends as well, that
Exactly.
maybe that are smarter than me, at least.
Well, I know. Listen. One thing I know for sure: there's always somebody smarter than us too, and we just up here giving our friendly opinions, our worldly opinions on the things that we see in the news, the things that we see on, and we've actually experienced in our lives. So first and foremost, I just want to say thank you again, and please, by all means, hit that like button. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. The button right next to the bell.
The like.
Yes, the like and the subscribe button, and also hit that bell. Make sure you
And
hit that
James,
bell.
when they all do that, I brought a little gift today for them as well. So it's a stone. They can like this as well. This is from my daughter. It sits on my desk. It's a gift for hitting that like button today.
Listen. If you
Or
if you
my business card. How about my other business? You know what I'm saying? Like we can go on.
Listen, we got it. If we have branding, is what he's saying, guys. We have branding. But definitely, appreciate everybody tuning in right now. Good morning, B Walker. Thank you for tuning in. Joyce, thank you for tuning in as well. And again, I appreciate everybody that's been tuning in every single week. And it's been great. It's been great. With that being said, how's the coffee, man? You enjoying your coffee this morning?
I am, my friend. I am. My son and daughter, or my son and my wife, last night are like, Dad, we're changing the coffee up. They don't like my coffee, so they had to do their coffee.
What kind of coffee? What you mean they changed the
No,
coffee?
this is just some like macadamia nut coffee, or if it's not blueberry, I don't know, man. I just like regular black coffee. I'm good. Yeah.
What about Black Rifle? Have you tried that?
Is that like that one that's like it's really rich?
Yeah, all I know is it supports veterans or something like that. But also I know Joe Rogan. He pretty much advertised that coffee every show. But it's definitely good.
Maybe we should try it out.
Yeah,
Maybe
try it.
Regular coffee right now. Next Monday we'll try that coffee and see how wired we are. Ready? You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, Bernadette bought some maybe a month ago, and it was really good. It's really rich. Honestly, it's really smooth. So I actually do recommend it. I mean, we're not getting promoted right now by no means, but once we do get promoted, you'll probably hear Black Rifle a whole lot. So
yeah.
So yeah. With that being said,
for my wife and my son, it'd be Blue Rifle as well, right? So like they can have some blueberry in there or something, right? Yeah.
There's something weird.
Lots going on, man.
It is indeed it is. First of all, let's just really start off talking about what's not really at the front of the news, but the Philadelphia Eagles won last night, man. It's crazy. Man. Philadelphia won.
I did not. I watched that game. I listened to it, but I didn't watch it. But the Cincinnati game and the Kansas City Chiefs, man. There's going to be a lot of talk about that game, my friend.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of talk about that game.
It was
And
close.
there always is. When someone loses, there's always talk about it, right?
Indeed.
You know,
I mean, overall, again, I'm not huge in watching sports, but I definitely know that right now, sports is definitely something that keeps people attention off some of the other matters and stress and day-to-day stress and week-to-week stress. It's just watching sports and just different games, have people wind down throughout the week.
James, I mean, we're talking about all types of business and the economy and everything. It's one of the largest businesses in the world.
Yeah,
I mean, it generates
billions
of dollars.
I mean, the Super Bowl generates just off the ad revenue billions.
September, October, November, December, January, February, for 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
crazy. Yeah. And then and now that we're talking about the economy just a little bit, it's crazy how football doesn't seem to lose their retention rate when it comes to people tuning in. And with inflation, I'm pretty sure the tickets are even more expensive than they were just 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, you're a season ticket buyer. Just kind of give me a little, insight on what those tickets cost for a season. I mean, if you don't mind.
I would say if you're a true NFL fan, right, if you don't care, win or lose, you don't care. You want your team to lose because the tickets are cheap. As soon as they start winning or they bring in a big name, the prices go up. I think our ticket prices went up $60, $80 a game maybe.
Oh, wow. Damn.
From last year to this year. I mean, it's...
So since Brady won you all a championship, it's like, yeah.
Well, won a championship, probably one of the greatest games I ever seen, lost that one. I mean, it's if he leaves, maybe our prices will go down, but I think we're locked in for 2 years. So we got the tickets,
But I mean, you're not going to, slow down, or the, concessions are not going to slow down just because the economy is going through what it's going through. I mean, I understand from one thing for sure is football and basketball and any other sport that has that major, scope of, people tuning in. I mean, people are really, really willing to spend that money to go to these games and enjoy themselves. I mean, I even look at it now since we have things like DraftKings and legal sports betting across the platform. People are even tuning in even more now. Like they're spending even more money on these platforms when it comes to these sports.
And how many NFL owners were against all of that in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. Like people that don't even watch football or anything like that, but like to gamble and do the things that like crunch those numbers.
Exactly.
And stuff. I mean, that's a big deal for them, right?
I mean,
it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, me and you both play DraftKings and things of that nature. And honestly, I think I've gotten a little bit too addicted to it over the past few years. And I've had some big wins and I had some really big losses as well. But at the end of the day, it's pretty fun. And I don't watch the sport. I just keep up with the statistics of everything and kind of just go off of that. But speaking of that, we have the Pro Bowl coming up and some very, very special kids or young men that we know will be performing for halftime. So shout out to Ray Shrimmer. We'll be performing this Pro Bowl, not Super Bowl, not just yet, but Pro Bowl halftime.
Not yet.
Halftime show or pregame show. Just out of curiosity, we did talk about the Pro Bowl being a flag football. Like, what's up with that, man? It's like flag football?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd rather see a big ceremony or something like that, or like do like all the shout outs and greatest player, greatest play and stuff like that. And I know they do that banquet, but maybe do it live or something like that. I'm not interested in seeing grown men that make millions of dollars a year or more run around with flags. Like,
yeah, chasing.
I know you don't want
chasing. Right.
That's what it's all about.
Right,
but,
chasing each other for flags.
I could say what I want to say, but I won't.
It's totally fine. It's just weird that we've gone to that level now, of where we are. But okay, cool. That's enough about football, man.
And don't they make $50,000 or something like that?
I don't know. I know, but all I know is it's used to be a well highlighted event, but I don't know how this is going to turn out. They're going to have to get back to tackling each other for me to spend that type of money to go to a show. So yeah. Anyways, that's enough about football, man.
Enough about football, man. Enough about football. I agree. Crossed off the list. Let's roll.
So anyways, when it comes down to our economy, you guys know that we like to give y'all an in-depth look on what's going on in our market, whether it's real estate, insurance, just stock market, just however things are playing out right now.
Friday it was good.
Yeah,
Everything was up.
yeah. And the reason why I said it is because we have to also calculate how much it was down, man. Like, I mean, one minute we're having conversations about it being a bull market, and next minute the conversation is that we're in a bear market. One minute the conversation is, oh, we're headed to a recession, and the next minute the stock market go up 110 points, 20 points. Now everybody's excited that they've been able to make an extra $1,000 after losing 20,000. So that's my thing. It's like the fluctuation of the stock market and this recession talk is so just benign to me that I just hate to wrap my head around it. I know we are actually in one, as we talk about every week now, is that we're actually in one. But the scope of keeping people blind to the facts is by giving them little wins here and there. As long as they can feel like they're winning once or twice a week, with a nice bet, it keeps them in a state of delusion that states that, hey, we're not where you think we are. And I think that's the misconception of all of this, is because I even still have conversation with different realtors. Had one this past week with a realtor who's not as active as we are, but was asking me how was the market. And I'm like, well, the market's great. The market's fine. But I hear the market is crashing. Oh, my goodness, with this market crashing talk. I mean, if the market is crashing, then we all crashing and we all going to suffer. So.
And you did not practice on change of word. It's called restart. We discussed that last week, James.
You're so right about that.
Restart.
The restart.
I think the conversation is out there with everyone. Like, I think we're all having it with somebody. I mean, we're all going to be impacted by this restart differently, right? When we have our meetings with the team and all of that stuff, I always like to bring up like the stats. The number of listings and the number of sales and stuff like that. In those numbers are not disheartening.
Right. They're not.
Those numbers are good, but it's what you want to make out of it, right? Like if you want to sit back and talk about the restart and just continue to talk about the restart to your friends and neighbors and how rough and tough it is. And Jesus, I can't sell anything. I can't do this. I can't put gas in my car. I can't go to the grocery store and buy eggs. Well, that's the mindset that you're setting up for yourself. Stop it.
Yeah, stop
Restart.
that. Stop that.
Get your ass up, make things happen, and focus.
And I think most people don't have the focus. I think people let these little situations get the best of them. And that's how things start. Right now our economy is suffering from so many different little issues. And again, we have the election coming up in 2024, where we are going to be getting a new president or just keeping the same president or the same
and
office.
Commercials
all over. So, and that's going to create more tension. That's going to create more situations inside of our economy that causes more conflict, more destruction, more distraction. And I think separation, the whole nine. So, we're going to constantly see this in our generational growth. And overall, I mean, we're looking at a situation that really can't be controlled, but we should have more understanding on why these things are happening the way they're happening. Keeping people confused is the best tactic, for everything.
You're absolutely right, man. I will tell you, I wish there was some law in place. There were big ass fines, right? You push an NFL player, not to go back to football, you push an NFL player on the sideline, you get a 15-yard penalty. We get these commercials out here, and it's bits and pieces of this and then putting things together, and it's all garbage and junk, and it's all lies, and it's not the real truth. And unfortunately, I would say let's just do 50%, 50-50. 50% of people see something on TV, on the internet, they read it, and they just read what's on the face. They don't dig into it and find out the real truth and all of that stuff. And then that's the way they're going out there and talking to the world and all of that stuff. And again, I'm not perfect. I could tell you 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that's how it was. I didn't care. Now that I'm a little bit older, I've got some businesses, I've got a family. It's different. Like when I see something, I'm like, man, is that real?
Right. You gotta question it. I mean, you'll be crazy. I mean, probably for lack of better terms, you'll be crazy to not double check the facts or double check the information that's being given to you, because so many people are having side ways conversations based off of things that they think, assumptions. Where's the real study? Where's the real in-depth look at what you're talking about? Everybody's a political genius when they're, it's crazy. Everybody's a political
Everybody
genius.
will say, I'm red, I'm blue. That's it. And like, you don't look at anything else. Like, you just say that. But like, there may be something on the other side that benefits you a hell of a lot better than what's on the side that you're voting for. You've got to look into it. You've got to find out what's going on for yourself, for your business, for your company, for your family. It's a mess, man. It's coming. What? I'd say right at the end of summer is when we'll be bombarded with.
We'll be bombarded.
12 months.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially now since I hear that Trump is officially like running right now, and there's a lot of high tension going on with him and Santos, yes, and everything like that. So I know for a fact that this thing is going to start, like you said, becoming more overwhelming. I'm gonna stay away from the TV commercials, the radio commercials, and just play it by ear, man. Because
I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't care if you like DeSantis, you like anything, James. I'd like to see a younger president. Like, I don't want to see all the 75-year-olds out there listening to us.
Don't be ageist, Daniel.
I love you all. But can we get somebody else in there like that is like 55, 65, in that range, that can see each generation and kind of help, like he's got young kids, stuff like that, man.
So you want somebody,
he's 85 years old, man,
right? So
the heart attack's possibly going to happen.
Right. So you're saying you want to see us have a more vibrant, president, or he or she.
I don't want a Kanye West or anything like that.
So and that's what I was going to go to. I mean,
I don't want The Rock. I don't want Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. So
I know where you're going, James. Stop it.
Because I mean, at this point now, I think we're getting away from the actual requirements that it takes to become a president or any political figure at this point. So my thing is, it's like, how far down the line is it going to be before we actually see someone that's the age of 30, 35 become a president, and that's leading our country. I mean, personally, I think that's a little too young to be.
I definitely think that's too young. There's not enough life experiences there.
Right, but somebody would take that as a disrespectful approach, saying that we're being ageist, or there's like we're being too far right when it comes to people and age. It's going to get to that conversation where it's going to be like, I don't know if you've seen Twilight, the new Twilight, on, I think it's I forgot what it's on, but it's on I think Netflix or something. But Jordan Peele, he's the new host of it. And it was the episode on there where, and again, I like watching movies and TV shows. I feel like they put so much information in these things that kind of, give us an insight of what the future looked like. But it was one episode where they had a 11-year-old young boy who got super famous from his political views on his YouTube channel, his TikTok channel, had millions of followers who loved his content, and he ran for president because these idiots seen this as a opportunity to change the outlook and perspectives of what we are used to, and literally help this young dude win the election. Now, I'm just curious. Do you think that like something not that drastic or dramatic could happen in the next 5 to 10 years where we have a president that's under the age of 30?
Not in the next
40.
5 to 10 years.
I'm sorry, 10 to 15. I mean,
probably could happen maybe in the next 20 years.
20.
I don't think in the next 5-10 years. I think everybody is so far across the middle line and so far separated that we're going to continue to have. Like I said, if it really comes down to Trump and DeSantis, I'd rather see DeSantis. If it comes down to that, because I like him here in Florida. He's done a great job for us, so I do support him. But I don't want to see a 30-year-old in there right now. I don't want to see my daughter at 20 in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, life experiences are needed. Education is needed. Not that you don't have it at 20 or 30, but I don't want to see actors and singers and, I don't want to see that happen.
I definitely think we're going to have I definitely think we're going to have a rapper, hip hop artist R&B artist. We're gonna have one of those in a
Be a
minute.
president.
Yes, facts. I mean,
$5, James. $5 bet right here on this episode 12. $5 bet.
we're
No
gonna
way.
we're gonna
No
have
way.
we're gonna
No
have a
way.
rapper. We're gonna have a rapper. We're gonna have.
Only if it's your boys, and then I'm voting.
No, I don't trust them to be president right now either. What you mean? No, or not even the next 10, 15 years. No, but I just feel like there's going to be some political rapper, or there's going to be some rapper who has strong ties to change. And let's speak on that real quick since we're actually on the topic, because I kind of want to segue into that anyways. Tyre Nichols. I don't know if you caught that, and I've sent you some video on it, but just situations like Tyre Nichols, I feel like that's a great segue into having a political figure run for president. These situations happen every political turn. I mean, you've seen this, Daniel. You've seen it. I know you've connected the dots. Every 3 years, we have a Tyre Nichols. We have a George Floyd. We have a situation where there's someone who is of color being attacked by the police or police officers, dying by the hands of cops, whether they're white, now they're black, or whatever. Now, I feel like that's a direct attack on the police, and someone mentioned this to me yesterday. It's no longer a black or white police officer that's killing. It's just now the color blue. It's like they're attacking the color blue. Police officers are dangerous, and they're corrupt, and they're just killing people for no reason. I've never been with the disbanding the police. I've never been with the whole get rid of the police and stuff like that. We need police officers. Now, are all police officers corrupt? No. Are there some out there? Sure. I mean, there's corrupt everything in some.
Everything.
Yeah, there's something corrupt in everything in every situation. Overall, my thing is, I think that'd be a great segue, because there's going to be an artist or a hip hop artist or somebody who take these type of platforms, these type of situations, and use their platform to speak on them, and it's going to propel them into the political atmosphere.
I mean, James, I've watched all the videos and all of that stuff. Regardless of what people think and all that stuff, man, it's sad. I listened to that mother, and that's whatever there may be behind it. I never want to see a life lost. Right. I just don't want to see that at all, man. I can't imagine that at all in my lifetime. I want to die before my kids, right? As simple as that. I look at that video and I see things differently. 5 people, 6 people, 7 people, 45-minute video. Nobody sees it. You're slapping, you're beating, you're punching. It's ridiculous, man. It is absolutely ridiculous. Whatever is going on, there needs to be some change, and there needs to be some major changes in that stuff. It's ridiculous. I'm tired of. I don't watch the news. I just kind of turn it on real quick to see what's going on. And this is going on, and I'm like, another one, like you said, every 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, it keeps happening, and it's disheartening, man.
It is. It's super.
I mean, your daughter goes out. Example, your daughter goes out. Your daughter 17, right?
17, yes.
She goes out. How many times do you text her? Do you check in on her? Stuff like that.
Man, 5 or 6 times in a few hours.
Absolutely, man. When we were kids, did our parents do that?
No.
They whistled. Your dad went outside, or your mom went outside. Your aunt went outside.
Screamed or whistled. Hey,
you came home.
You came home,
right? It is, man. Like my son's at work the other night. I'm like, okay, when you getting off? He's like, Dad, you just text me. I go, I know. I just want to make sure you're okay, right? It's crazy, man. These images, these pictures scare the shit out of all of us.
So let me ask you a question. With that being said, again, I totally hate to see anyone lose their life to any misuse of justice or any volatile way when it wasn't cause for. And again, it's like, what situation is cause for anyone to lose their life by the hands of the people that are supposed to protect you? But there's been a lot of situations out here where we have to just look at the video multiple times to get a clear view. Now, it's clear that these cops abused this young man. It's clear that these cops took advantage of a situation to take this whatever frustration they had out on this young man.
Yep.
And it's crazy that we are now seeing this structure again happened in Memphis when it just happened in Baltimore and all these other places when we've seen them in St. Louis a few years ago. You know, there's so many different situations where we've witnessed this and it was caught on camera. Like it's really heartbreaking that we have to continue to see this stuff. What do we have to do as a community and as people? You know, like I don't care, like just riding around in certain neighborhoods. Just for example, if I'm running around, in a faulty neighborhood or a shabby neighborhood, and just say for instance, I'm driving the Corvette or I'm driving, one of the BMWs, and I'm in a neighborhood at a certain time of night, does that cause for harassment, if we want to call it that? If I get pulled over in those neighborhoods when I know the high crime rate, the high drug rates, things like that are existing, and I get pulled over, is the best outcome from what we would like to say is like, hey, just comply with everything these people are saying? Do we ask questions? Do we say, hey, do you have the right to pull me over? Do you have the right to ask me my name? Do you have the right to ask for my ID? I know we like to pull these cars a lot, and try to beat the system. But if you're in these situations, in these neighborhoods, do you feel like it's best to just comply sometimes?
And James, we're throwing a thin line here, right? But you and I drive down the same street. You drive ahead of me, then I drive behind you the next day, the day after. There's a different view. I 100%. There's a different view. It sucks. Absolutely sucks. We don't teach our kids here. There's not a color. There's not a race. You know what I'm saying? We are all humans. We all bleed red. And at the end of the day, you want respect. You give respect. That's what we teach our kids, right? We're very diverse. One of my best friends, black guy from school, military, like him and I, we talk every week, just like you and I talk every week.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there's never, ever any of that conversation. We are just two gentlemen having conversations, talking about family and all of that stuff. I've heard the saying, like, we've told our daughter and our son as well, right? But he just started driving. You're driving and you get pulled over and it's 1:00 at night and you're driving down the street and it's pitch black. Cop pulls you over. We're like, hey, get to a gas station. Get somewhere where there's multiple eyes on the situation, right? I think we just had an incident here in Florida, like in the last 12 months or something. Okay. Some guy posed as a cop, right? And raped three women or whatever. Wow, it was. Like, that's ridiculous, right? Yeah. I mean, you see the videos because they pull into a gas station, broad daylight. He does whatever it is, all that stuff. And, I don't know what it is, James. I don't know how to fix it. But like, if you're getting pulled over, maybe we turn our flashing lights on, and that indicates to the cop, hey, we understand you're pulling us over, but we are going to the Walmart. We are going to the gas station. We are doing something. And as long as at that point you're not breaking the law or you're not drunk, intoxicated, whatever it is, man, it's okay. I don't know what to fix, but there's a problem. There is a problem going on in this country with police officers and young men and young women and stuff like that. And it's sad because you know what? We're living it, but what is everybody else thinking outside this country? Like, what is going on here?
I mean, I personally think, let's take China, for instance, that we don't look at their economy and say, do we really say what's going on? We know they live in a quote unquote communist community or society, but look at what's going on. People are being snatched out of their homes, being locked into their homes because of this, pandemic situation that they're still claiming they're dealing with over there, and forcing people to, camps and treating them as if they're not human, treating them as if they're animals, and just stuffing them into these camps and telling them that they can't leave until they're cured, if they ever get cured of this COVID situation. So my thing is, it's like we look at that and we keep moving with life. Like, we don't care about what China's going through, but we know we don't want that here. We know we don't want that here. So my thing is, when it comes to here, is that we see this every 2 to 3 years. And I think that politically it plays a part to distract us from other things. One thing for sure is the black vote, quote unquote, the black vote is what they like to call it, is a huge demographic that they like to spawn on every 3 years. It's like we need to do something, or something needs to happen for us to take the eyes off of the lost documents of Biden and all of this other crap, that's going on. We don't want you thinking about the things that the current administration is doing. Focus on this, and then watch how we're going to fix this. Watch how we're going to fix this to keep you from losing faith in this administration, because I've seen it. It happened last term. It happened the term before that. Like even when the guy, I forgot his name. I'm sorry. So many of these situations I forget their name. But even when Trump was like, let them be, or the riots. This is going to cause another riot. If it didn't cause a riot, maybe it was a spark to something that could cause a riot. With those riots, what do we have? We have destructions of communities. We have destructions of personal property. We have what we consider a uplifting situation that turns super violent and super dangerous and super destructive. Here in Atlanta 3 or 4 years ago, I've seen my city get burned. I've seen places get vandalized. I seen people sit outside the CNN building throwing bottles and trying to set the building on fire with people in it. So my thing is always, how does this affect us? It affect us way more than, we think, just emotionally. It affect our economies financially. It affect us morally. And it just causes more and more destruction. Like, there's so many opportunities after this stuff happens for people to come in and use these situations as a business situation where they can actually gain something from the destruction of these neighborhoods.
I mean, I get it. I'm there is deflection. There is where hey, this is going on, but let's look at this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hope and say that that's not the case, man. I hope there's not something bigger behind it, but it's possible, right? Like I want to have an open mind. It is crazy because you do see these things, and when you start putting 2 and 2 together, you're like, hey, what's going on? Why is this happening now? We're all of a sudden here. The whole document thing is ridiculous. You're a president, you're an officer. You don't bring the documents home. I'm over it. They both suck when it comes to that, right? Neither one of them should have had documents. We can't just say Biden's documents. We can't say Trump. They both did it, right? I would hope that what happened in Memphis is not someone trying to distract from the documents being taken home. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I think overall it's not just the documents, it's the documents on top of everything else that has failed with our administration. Right now, the tax ceiling, debt ceiling is crazy, right?
Oh, that's nuts.
Right. That's crazy, right? But Nobody's talking about an extra $80 billion that Biden has just sent over to Ukraine during this situation. No one's talking about that. We're not focused on the financial aspect of our economy right now. If from what we read, I'm pretty sure you read it this morning.
Nobody has the time to read that 5,000
page. No. There's somebody out there that's deciphered. There's somebody out there that deciphered the shit out of that.
Paid somebody to read it. Okay?
Yeah, somebody out there deciphered the shit out of that. So, but it's again, are we focused on that with the economy the way it is, with stock markets going up and down, with people losing money in their Bitcoin, with this racial or judicial racism or whatever we want to call it, where people are dying by the hands of the cops. Listen, bro, I was driving yesterday and there was tanks on my street. There's tanks on my highways. Tanks with guns. I thought we was invaded. Thought like rioters looting. Like that. These situations always end in someone wanting to use our city as an example of burning down the establishment. This is nothing new. Come on, man, this is nothing new. Like, we always use these situations send a message to the establishment that never gets the message. They never get the message because the message isn't for the establishment. The message should be for the people. The message should be sent out to the people. But guess what? The people don't listen because the people are caught up in their own shit. I can't be caught up in what happened to this guy in Memphis on the streets of Memphis. I lived in Memphis. He wasn't the first. He won't be the last. But it's sad that we have to constantly see this and we have to constantly know that this stuff is going on. People are corrupt. There are some corrupt cops. I'm pretty sure this Scorpion team, whoever they are, is not the first time that they've brutally beat the shit out of somebody, whether they was white, black, Mexican,
because
Asian.
it's always when they do the background check on these guys and they come out 4 or 5 months later, right? It won't come out for 4 or 5 months,
Right.
But like, oh, they were harassing or they were a little violent in a stop and stuff like that. I mean, that's always how it comes out.
Right. It's always going to come out, right?
They're not perfect angels.
They're people. These cops aren't fucking superheroes. They are people. And that's the thing. It's like, I don't think we understand that. People are going to work. These same cops probably put their money on the stock market and it lost. They probably put their money in Bitcoin. They're going to work angry and upset. You know, that like these people probably just caught their wife cheating. You know, like the little one chick who was sleeping with everybody in the damn police station. You know, like this is what I'm saying. Like we don't know what these cops come to work with. You know, they're not robots. They're people. They have their days. Some days are worse. You know, I don't know. Some people have an agenda to just make stuff worse, and it's sad. It's so sad to know that we live in this economy, but we put our trust into people when they building our bridges, when they building our highways, when they're building our boats, when they're building our aircrafts. Anybody can make a mistake. I'm not saying what they did was just a mistake. That was intentionally, doing something that was jacked up. But we put our faith in people every single day. And we expect for people not to have frustration and miss something or overdo something or be overwhelmed. And it can cause the lives of millions of people, hundreds of people, just one person. But at the end of the day, that's what we call life. And do I now take the time out of my life to go out and protest and burn down my city, making shit worse? No, that's not what we should be doing. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be finding ways to implement new rules, not just for the criminals, but for the law enforcement as well. And I think that's where we're missing the big connection. Law enforcement and the criminals. I think they either push too far, saying, okay, if you have weed on you, we're going to give you 20 years. Then they go from, okay, weed is legal. Now also breaking in someone's house, you can, if you call us and say that your house was broken in places like California, we're not even going to send police because if you're still alive enough to call us, we'll handle it later. So
that's why they're all moving here.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, I don't get it. Like we go super like tight on crime and then we just get like so loose on crime because we become so soft. Where's the happy medium? Like, where is the happy medium?
I wanted to just say, when you said these guys and these men and women are human, right? They're human, right? Sooner or later, robots will be running the road. Elon Musk has anything to do with it, we're going to have robots in the cars. You're not going to have humans back there anymore.
I mean, again, I totally agree. I don't know if you've seen all the technology that Dubai has. They have robot cops. They have cops and dogs that's patrolling their streets. And why is Dubai such a crime-free country? Why are they so crime-free? Because they punishments are so high. You get caught stealing over there, you literally lose a hand. If I'm not mistaken,
you lose a hand or something. Yeah.
If you're kissing, if not Dubai, Abu Dhabi, if you get caught kissing your wife in public, you're spending months in jail. Their crime and their what they consider crime, from the smallest things to the biggest things, the repercussions of those things are so crazy that people just want to fly the straight and narrow no matter what.
Yeah. But they also don't have an opinion either,
I mean, that's true. I'm not saying we should take away our opinions here.
Or cut people's hands off.
Cut people's hands off.
Maybe.
But we have a situation where we are now having to figure out what matters more. Our safety or our material, you know what I'm saying? Like material things. Like, if I owned the Dollar General and people just walked in and took what they want and I can't stop them, calling the police doesn't work, I might as well not own a business. I might as well not just own a business. I might as well just, shut that down. If people are able to just come live in my front yard and pitch a tent, then I can't call the police. I'm gonna get frustrated. I'm gonna just shoot people. Am I just gonna become, angry and, start ravishing stuff? I mean, they're in some situations. I look at it that they're giving the people too much control and taking the control, controlling factor away from the police, how they can help you and how they can control things, and they're giving it back to the people, and that's going to cause more destruction, cause more chaos.
It definitely is, James. I mean, I wish we could put our finger on it and fix all the problems, and it's just not going to happen, right? I don't even know in these situations you can put a Band-Aid on it.
You
right?
You can't.
You can't right now. It's we are so far as a country in so many ways doing wrong things, and it's a little scary, especially as a parent, as a business owner, right? I don't own a Dollar General store, but I have a business. People can come in and out of that business and walk in. It's it definitely is scary, especially when you open your business or in your home, right? You would think if you made a phone call that it would be in your best interest, right? Like they're there to protect and take care of you. And like you're saying, that's not always the case.
Right.
Yep.
Because if you call the police, you don't know if they're going to come there and look at you as the criminal or the victim. Now the victim can be considered the criminal if they approach a situation wrong. I have guns. I believe in the right to bear arms. They say the first the first one is you have the freedom of speech, but the second one is you better be able to back it up because that person now has a gun. So that's the thing. It's like you want to be able to say what you want to be. You want to be able to say what you say without the repercussions of losing your life. But I have guns in my house. I keep a gun on me in my cars. I have my carries permit. I can literally carry my gun on me in different stores and different situations. So for me, it's not that I'm carrying my gun because I'm afraid to live. It's just that I carry my gun because I don't understand what people's intentions are, especially when the economy is bad. Because we have to realize what comes with a bad economy. What comes? Loss of jobs. Then with loss of jobs come loss of homes. Then with loss of anger. Then with loss of homes comes, poverty. And then once you're in that situation where you can't afford to feed your kids, where do your moral compass lead you? Do you have a moral compass at that point? The only goal is to make sure you don't starve. The only goal is to make sure you don't, end up dead from starvation, on the street. So you're going to do whatever you have to do, or what seems like is necessary to do when it comes to feeding you or your children. And I can't blame people for having that mentality. I mean, it's a mentality of survival. We're all surviving right now in this economy. We're all surviving now.
You're right, James. I mean, the whole gun thing, you don't know what, like you said, like what somebody outside driving down the road had a bad day, like you said earlier, their wife or their husband cheats on them or something like that, and you cut them off just because you're in a rush. You've got an appointment to go to, and they get all bent up out of shape. And I mean, we see it all the time here on our roads here in Florida. I mean, it happens, right? Not necessarily where everybody's getting shot or anything, but people will pull out guns. I've heard stories where someone will pull out a gun as they're driving down the road. What do you do? At that point, I take my foot off the gas. I just sit back. I'm like, okay, have fun with it, my friend. Do your thing. Right. It's it is scary. I think inside your household, absolutely. Somebody breaks into your house, I'm sorry for you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're putting your foot in the wrong place.
I totally agree with you. The Lord said you have to protect your family, and I totally agree. You have, and again, that doesn't just come from the people with money, people that have lost their jobs, their careers, their homes, their whatever. They still want to protect their family. That you don't lose that because you've run out of money. You don't lose that because you're in a financial situation where things aren't where you want them to be. So no matter what. Even when it comes, like I said, feeding your family, that's part of protecting. You want to do whatever you can. And sometimes that may lead a person down the wrong moral path of having to rob, steal, or just take something that may not be theirs. But in their mind at that time, they're protecting their family, even if they got to take from another family, and that's scary, bro. That's super scary to know that we're getting more and more, we're heading more and more down that path with the way things are with this reset that we're going through. We can expect more crime. We can expect more destruction. We can expect more cops having to feel like they need to amp up their patrol, and stop drugs and stop, with this fentanyl craze. I mean, this people are dying, from drugs, and it's crazy that we have to be so aggressive with our, approach when it comes to our crime and with our cops and crime. But is it necessary? Is the question.
James, let me ask you a question. As we're having this conversation, I'm sitting here thinking, driving down my roads, there's billboards out that says, hey, we're looking for detention or officers and we're providing a bonus. Does that mean we have a shortage of sheriffs?
Yeah, that sounds like we have a shortage of
a help wanted sign in a Dollar General store means, hey, we need help. We're low on staff.
Right. That's what that means. Shit. It's like the crime and the drugs have... right now, back in my hometown, Tupelo, Mississippi, I think every week Bernadette is showing me someone that I knew personally is in jail for either fentanyl possession, just distribution of it. I think this new drug of fentanyl or whatever the hell it is causing way more chaos than weed, coke, crack has ever, pills, any of that. And I guess these pills are laced with fentanyl now as well. So I think that we're now headed into a world where the addiction is outweighing the success that people want in life. I think more people will rather be addicted to this new drug because it's way more addictive. It's deadly. Like touching this shit is deadly.
Like what's scary about that is somebody dies off of that stuff.
Dies.
Then everybody else is like, oh man, that's the good stuff. Let's go get it.
Like what the hell?
What the hell, guys? Women, what are you doing?
It's really crazy that someone can see somebody die off this stuff right next to them and be like, I need some of that. Like,
yeah, let me go get that.
Right.
That's what I want. Like, so, seriously? And it's dressed up so pretty now, right? Like, I mean,
I don't know what it's dressed up like, but I know it must be dressed nice.
It's crazy, man. Yeah. It is absolutely, it's insane, man. It's, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely ruining our economy, man. Overall, it's just ruining our economy, and I definitely want people to take
5 years, 10 years would be something else.
It'll be something else, It'll definitely be something else, and I definitely want us as people, and that's just a want for me to, understand that it's better out here. I've been at the low end of the totem pole. I've been at the bottom end of the totem pole. I know life sucks. I know life is hard. But I think the truth of it is, if I just get into this for a moment, I think the truth of it is, Daniel, and this is, people, you can put in the comment section if I'm wrong, but I think every day we're fighting for sanity. Every day we're fighting to stay sane. Maybe it's the way our economy is set up, way our structure is set up financially, having to come from the bottom out of that hell's den to try to crawl our way up to see some sunlight every day. I think we're fighting for our sanity every day. I think everybody's walking around here insane, fighting for sanity, and it's crazy to think that, but I don't know how we do it. I mean, it's always something. It's always something negative. It's always some corruption. So to fight for your sanity every day, and some days some people just give up. Some people just say fuck it. Some people just throw their hands up and say I'm dying. It's hard.
You're absolutely right. Like we've talked. If you turn the TV on, if anybody listening right now turns the TV on after this podcast, right? And goes to the TV, you're going to hear 15 negative things, maybe 2 positive things, right? And the 2 positive things are, oh, look at this cute dog. Look at this local business just starting up. It sucks, right? What you're saying is you are always fighting an uphill battle. Your so-called friends, right, that love and support you face to face, but afterwards they're jealous, they're hating you because they've seen you're being successful, right? Not all your friends love you because you're being successful, right? They just not, right? And so you've got people out there that are always going to hate on you, that and so you're fighting that constantly when you wake up. So when you wake up in the morning, you put your shoes on and you go out that door and you start grinding, you're fighting the people that hate you and
They hate
that
you.
are that don't want you to do good, James. Like that's crappy,
It's
man.
crappy.
Like like seriously. So I think there is a little bit of insane there. Like, it's not fun always.
It's not fun, because it's like the more you want it, the less the world wants it for you. And then they look at you as if you're doing something wrong because you're actually succeeding. And the more you succeed and they're doing bad, it's like, why should you have that? Why do you have that?
James, you have to have a good partner and you have to have a good supporting cast, right? I have to say that my wife, my children, my grandmother, like I don't see when I'm in a funk or like I take 2 steps back instead of 2 steps forward because I feel like I'm always taking 2 steps forward, right? And they'll ask, "Hey, Dad, hey, hon, what's going on? Do you want to talk?" And I don't always talk, right? I don't always just bring things up. So my wife will be like, "Hey, what's on your mind? What's going on?"
Like, let's talk about it, right?
Yeah, like, and I'll be like, "No, I'm good. I'll figure it all out." And then afterwards, it's like, "Man, this is going on. This is happening." And I'm like, you know what? Just that 5-minute talk was all I needed.
Was necessary because, and great example.
Otherwise, I'm going to go jump in the lake. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, because I mean that's a great example. I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, and if we're going to be super transparent here, I definitely don't mind being transparent with you. Just yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Now, don't get me wrong. Right now, I have $1.5 million worth of deals on the table, and from the perspective of the world, that's great. And from the perspective of real estate, that's great. Like in this economy, man, you should be blessed. You should be happy. You should be thrilled. And don't get me wrong, I am. I feel very, elated to have this opportunity in this economy to be doing the business I'm doing. I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. But the amount of energy and the amount of stress that comes with trying to reach that goal or reaching that goal can sometimes take its toll on you. And just yesterday, me and Bernadette, we was able to just have a day and just lay around and watch some TV and just catch up on just ourselves and life. And while I was sitting there, I don't know, I had this overwhelming feeling to tell her, like, I'm sad. Like, and we have a different definition for sad as well, not just sad. I got you. Just to break down the acronyms.
Because it's sad that I'm thinking like I'm gonna have to leave this podcast. I'm gonna have to get in my car and drive to Atlanta.
So
avoid the tapes on the road.
So our acronyms for sad is stress, anxiety, depression, and dehydration. So that's the form of depression. Like to get to depression, you have to first go through the stress and anxiety. And then you realize that you're lacking water, probably lacking water intake, probably been drinking sodas or whatever else that's a bit unhealthy for you, which causes dehydration, which causes depression. The depression is the last notion of that sad. And I think just yesterday, I get so caught up, as I mentioned, I get so caught up with my day to day that I lose focus of the other small little things that can keep us on the track to making sure our happiness is first. And when I was able to say that to her yesterday, she said, we was able to have a conversation, and then having that conversation was like, oh, that's a relief. Oh, that's a relief, man. I was able to talk, and we was able to have like this hashing out moment where I can actually see what the issue is. I can actually feel what the issue is. Now I can correct that issue, and I can focus on change, and I can go out and make that happen, so my happiness can resolve and come back to where it was. So I think speaking, not just having conversations about the sky being blue or there's a meteor shower or this and that, but actually having real conversations with people and speaking on and being able to speak about how you feel without being judged. That's the thing that people don't have in the world. They feel like they're going to be judged because we're living this false, fake life of social media where we want to pretend that we have these Rolexes and these nice cars and these big houses and we dress the best every day. When we just had the conversation that we've seen people who fake it till they make it on social media as realtors, and then next thing you know, you see their real life and they don't even have a percentage of the life they're actually living. You gotta understand the mental toll that takes on a person. That's gotta be fucking stressful, bro. It has to be stressful to be living like that.
James, in knowing you, right, your numbers and where you want to be are much larger, right? But just remember, James, hang in there with me. We're not 12, 18 months ago, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be at 7.5 right now, okay? Right? You would be, right?
Right.
So it is because I know you off this screen. I know having conversations with you. I know that you want James Garman's name out there. You want to be that top dog. You want it, man. I every time I have a conversation with you, I feel it. I know that that's what you want, right? You have that drive and that desire, and it is okay every once in a while to hit that wall, and that's okay, because it's a time to sit back, reflect, have that conversation with your spouse or your partner. Similar situation this weekend. I'm just opened up a brand new office. Very large space,
right?
A little nervous, scary, but my wife, she doesn't even know it because I didn't say anything to her, but we're sitting here and she's like, you started in an 84-foot square office.
Wow.
Like 84 square foot. And now you're at 1,200 square foot. You've got 3 or 4 offices for each one of your agents. You've got an office for your realtors and partners and stuff like that. You got your own conference table, meeting room, stuff like that. Like, it didn't hit me because I don't look at those things like that. Like, I don't know how many sales I've done. You've told me, right? I just don't look at those numbers. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hit the ground grinding every single day and make things happen. But Friday night, I came home. Saturday morning, my wife said, "What's wrong?" And I was like, I told her, I was like, I'm a little nervous. She's like, what are you nervous for? Stop. And it was 5 minutes of just take a deep breath. Let's drink some water. We went and painted. We worked out together. We did everything that we were supposed to do as partners. And I woke up at 4:30 this morning. I hit the snooze for 30 minutes. I was like, I got to get up. I got to start grinding. I got to have a conversation with James and get this week rolling. So I do think it's okay for anyone out there to come to a wall, hit that wall, and just make sure that you go through that wall at the end. And that's where you're supporting cast with your wife, your kids, your family, your grandmother, your aunt, your uncles, whoever it is, right? So that's good. I'm glad that you got a day of hydration.
Yes.
I love the acronyms for SAD. That may go somewhere on my office wall. I like that.
Yes.
But it's a grind. It's a grind, brother. It's a grind, man. And you know what? It is okay to speak on these things. It's important, right?
I definitely think it's important.
Look, man, I didn't even charge you $150 to tell me your story.
Right? And that's what I love about you, bro. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I definitely enjoyed the conversation. Again, Ariel, thank you for tuning in, bro. Great to see you here. Progress over perfection. I totally agree with that. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, B. Walker. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Dolores, thank you. Please, if you have if you ever have anything to say in this conversation, please jump in. Like I said, we will be bringing a line in so everybody can call in, tune in, and just kind of give us a verbal expression of how they feel about these topics that we're having. Again, super sad situation for Tyre Nichols. Hate to see that happen to him. Hate to see that happen to anyone, of course. We definitely have to get a better perspective on what we're doing in America. And again, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be sad. We just need a supporting cast to help you get out of it, So with that being said, man, another great show. Thank you all. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and bell if you haven't. We will be back next Monday for another great podcast. If you don't catch us in between times talking about something later in the evenings.
Get up and get motivated. Let's go.
Thank you. And until next time, everyone, have a great one. This was The Closing Table, and we hope you enjoyed it. But we are outie.